I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. I still mess up, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground. I always get enough to see what's next. Birds don't just fly, they fall down and get up. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give up, no I won't give in till I reach the end and then I'll start again. No I won't leave, I wanna try everything, I wanna try even though I could fail.
Seasons, greetings, and happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the Zootopia Minute podcast during this festive time of year. We are the Minute by Minute podcast where we review everyone's favorite non-furry or maybe furry film of 2016. Simul and I just came back from our first FurryCon. For this minute, we are talking about minute 75, a nice round minute, where we are covering timestamp 1 hour 15 minutes 00 to 1 hour 15 minutes 59 seconds. And it starts where Gazelle continues picking up. She says, "Give me back the Zootopia I love." The scene cuts to Judy working on her Savage Mammal Report project. As Chief Bogo comes, knocks on her door, her ears perks up. They pass by Clawhauser. They see him sadly packing away his desk before she meets the new mayor, who happens to be our Assistant Mayor Bellwether, former Assistant Mayor. And it ends when Bellwether talks to Judy, saying, "Our city is 90% prey, Judy, and right now they are all just scared. You are a hero to them." This is a nice phrase to end this minute, and it's a nice phrase for this year to end on, 2019. You are a hero to them.
Yeah, not a whole lot of action going on this minute, but some interesting dialogue. And I think this minute shows us a little bit of the fallout from what Judy had said during that press conference. We did see a little bit of that in our previous minute, which was a live episode at ANW. We'll talk about that a little later on. But so that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. So the first thing we see is Gazelle. This is carried over. She got cut off at the end of the last minute. She says, "Give me back the Zootopia I love." Remember, we were hearing this monologue from her about how everything's terrible now. Everyone's turning against each other in the city. Give me back the Zootopia I love. That's what she wants. Now we see, back in the police station, Judy is working at her desk. She's doing a Savage Mammal Report on Emmett. We can see a picture of Emmett on her computer. Her computer looks like a Mac to me, which I feel is unrealistic for a municipal police department because cities never have that kind of money to splurge on really expensive computers. So I don't think this movie is very realistic.
Well, we'll talk about unrealistic police department computers later. But I do want to point out that she does have traits of a rabbit. Like, again, her ears perk up when Bogo comes and knocks on her little cubicle area.
Yeah, looking at her desk, actually, I think this is the first time we've seen her actual workspace in the police department, isn't it? Because normally we've just seen her out in the field. At first, it was just traffic stuff, right? Like tickets and whatnot. I don't know if we've actually seen her. She has a little cubicle. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bogo comes up, knocks on the side of it, says, "Come on, Hops, the new mayor wants to see us." The mayor, why? "It would seem you've arrived," and they start to walk off. Before we do follow them along, however, just taking a look at this little area here, she does have her computer. She has some books here. She's got a mug. And as the camera looks back up at Bogo as he starts walking off and saying, "It would seem you've arrived," something I want to point out, what is going on with the lights on the ceiling? Like, go ahead and look at that frame. Those are some wonky lights.
Wonky?
Seriously, go look at the lights there. The shape is all crazy. It's like weird polygons. I don't know if it's supposed to look like stripes, like on a zebra or a tiger or something, but normally you see these office environments, it's like that false ceiling that hangs a bit below the actual structural ceiling, and it's made of that like foam kind of stuff, and there would just be rectangular fluorescent fixtures. These ones aren't rectangular though, they're like weird random shapes. Actually, that's even weirder because it means that the fluorescent tubes inside have to be different lengths to all fit inside. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Well, neon lights are a thing. Again, it looks like one of the Disney areas in Animal Kingdom or Epcot.
You do see what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look odd.
It looks super odd. How does an office building have lights shaped like that? Why? What purpose could that possibly serve?
A lot of modern common office buildings and spaces actually have more modernist designs like that. It's just the outside. The inside is exactly, it uses the same bulbs and everything. Or they use LED lights, which don't even require having standard size lamps and stuff.
I don't know. I just feel like the city's wasting money on all this custom stuff. You know,
If
I were a taxpayer in Zootopia, I would not appreciate that.
Yeah, but again, this is the landmark city. This is the big city that everyone wants to be at. So of course it has to look like the shining city on the hill.
Government malfeasance at every level, as usual. Whatever. Well, anyway, light fixtures aside, Judy follows Bogo into the lobby of the police department where they walk past the reception desk, and we can see Clawhauser actually packing up a box of items here, including a laptop.
Yes, talking about unrealistic computers, I really don't think that reception desks will have... Most reception desks actually have an area where the computer is built in. It's normally a desktop, and it's stationary. They normally don't have a external laptop that could easily be taken away or stolen.
Right, it's built in or something.
Yeah, so this is the one part where I find this is more unrealistic.
I was thinking about that too. Like, why would he be packing up the laptop? Like, he's using a personal computer at the desk there, or what? Like, they don't provide one?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Weird stuff. Well, anyway, Judy sees Clawhauser doing this, says, "Clawhauser, what are you doing?" And then Clawhauser responds, "Well, they thought it would be better if a predator, such as myself, wasn't the first face that you see when you walk into the ZPD." "What?" Judy responds, "They're gonna move me to records. It's downstairs. It's by the boiler." And then he kind of sadly walks off, and Judy looks up at him with this sort of sad, almost guilty expression on her face before Bogo then calls her to the door. And yeah, this is really sad. Again, this is kind of a firsthand example of the aftermath of what happened when the mayor was arrested and when Judy made that press conference. Everyone's kind of turned against the predators in the city. So we can see it's not just these protests we saw happening outside or the stuff on the news in the last minute. It has real world consequences beyond just stuff you see on TV. This is Judy's coworker not quite losing his job, but being brought out of being demoted in a sense. So, you know, the concern that he mentions here, the reason they're moving him is so that he's not the first thing they see when you walk into the police office.
Aw, but he's a cuddly, chubby, wubby cheetah.
I know.
How
He's
could he
not
be so
threatening at all. Clawhauser's the least threatening looking cop ever. You just want to give him a hug.
Do you need
Don't
a Clawhauser body pillow? Is he your husband?
I absolutely don't.
He's your husband. I know he's your husband. Okay,
I said
I'll
I'd
sure
give
to
him
draw
a
that on the
hug.
title
I think
card.
you're drawing some conclusions here that
I'm
don't
drawing
really
that on the
make
title
sense.
card. I'm already drawing conclusions.
All right, as long as he has a Santa hat, because it's a Christmas episode, you gotta do that.
It's a Hanukkah episode. This is being released during Hanukkah.
Okay, fine. Well, anyway, the scene then transitions once again. They're now in the mayor's office. The first thing we see is actually Judy's face. We had an interesting scene transition here. The last thing we saw in the Clawhauser scene here was Judy staring forwards looking sad. The transition here, it then flips over rapidly to Judy smiling, but she's smiling on a poster that has her face on it. It says ZPD. This is a ZPD poster. It says integrity, honesty, bravery. It's got a picture of a badge and it has Judy's nice smiling face. So she then puts down this poster, and evidently this is some poster that they want to put out because they want Judy to kind of help represent the police department here. But she puts the poster down. We see Bellwether sitting at the mayor's desk, and she indeed has this plaque in front of her now saying Mayor Bellwether. Really love the view. Gotta love the view from that office, right? It looks like we're on a tall floor, probably in one of those big central towers downtown.
So the view kind of reminds me of the prequel Star Wars movies where you have the fantastic
Coruscant?
view of Coruscant outside.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
The big building the building on the far right, it kind of looks like a big termite mound. And the one on the left looks like something you'll see out of Dubai. In fact, if you just cut out that thing, it will look like, oh, that's just a picture of Dubai.
The United Zooey Emirates.
I think Zooey has a...
Zooeritz. Okay. Well, anyways, back to the dialogue here. As Judy's looking at this poster, she puts it down and she says, "I don't understand." To which Bellwether responds, "Our city is 90% prey, Judy, and right now they're just really scared. You're a hero to them." And that's where the minute ends. But from that, we can gather a few things. From that and the poster, we can gather a few things. It looks as though the police department is probably trying to now make Judy kind of a literal poster child now for the police department, which I suppose kind of make sense. I mean, Bellwether mentions here you're a hero to them. She is the one that solved the case, so, there's probably an argument for that. But I think we can already anticipate that Judy's probably not going to be super comfortable with this.
Obviously, this is her first time seeing this propaganda ad. So it's assumed that they probably took some other picture of her beforehand. Like, this is probably her...
Oh, like, where'd the photo come from?
Yeah, it's like her post-academy picture or when she just got...
It must be. I was thinking about that, too.
This is her first time looking at it. So she's obviously shocked and surprised she's being used in this manner. So they didn't have probably the mock-up, but...
Or they took a picture of her when she was sad and they, like, photoshopped her smile upside down or something. Turned that frown upside down.
But then her buck teeth will be on the other side.
Ugh, that would be weird. Should do that later, see what it looks like.
It's like a gopher.
I mean, so like we said, it's not a super long minute. I mean, all minutes are the same length. They're 60 seconds. But it's not a super detailed minute.
What?
It's mostly just dialogue, not a whole lot of action going on. But, still leading into this aftermath from that press conference. But I believe in the next minute, we'll probably see a lot more of what's to come following all this drama that's going on here. But that minute is going to have to wait till next episode, which is going to happen in 2020. We're here all the way at the end of 2019 now. Can you believe it?
I heard they're canceling 2020 and just rebooting 2019. So we'll be seeing 2019 Part 2.
2019 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Scootaloo.
Electric Scoot. Oh gosh.
Has that title ever been used as an episode name in My Little Pony?
It's probably a fanfic thing.
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, has Times They Are a Changeling ever been used?
I don't know. Maybe, see, why weren't you on the show staff? You should have been providing
I've been listening
to
Times They Are a Changing lately, and I was just thinking, I could just redo
Bob
this
Dylan
song,
fan?
What Times They Are a Changeling.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
We are at the end of the year. We've got New Year's coming up. We got Christmas, Hanukkah, all sorts of holiday stuff going on. Do you have any plans for the holidays?
The peak of Yin, which is a Taoist holiday.
Oh, I see.
But anyways, I really want to get to the discussion portion. We're going to save all the other news till the next episode next year because we were very excited. If you guys listened to the previous minute, we had a live episode at Anthro Northwest. This is a furry con that takes place in Simul's hometown of Seattle. And this is actually Simul's first time ever going to a furry convention. So if you guys were following us on Twitter and watched the previous episode, you'll probably see that we got into a bunch of furry shenanigans. So just off the back, Simul, this is your first furry convention, and in person you were telling me how it was kind of a different feeling from brony conventions and other conventions you attended. So can you please explain how your impressions weren't?
Well, I guess the way I would sum everything up is it was interesting but a little bit underwhelming. And I say that not because it was boring or anything, but just because it was small. It did not feel like a large con. I think they said they had something like 1,600 attendees. It did not feel that big even. But I mean, you were pointing out a lot of stuff that happens at furry cons is actually in room parties and such. So maybe people were tied up there and we didn't actually see them on the con floor as much.
So strange, you actually thought it felt smaller?
It felt small, yeah. It did not feel like a big con at all.
Okay,
and they said
interesting.
1,600, it felt like 800 or something to me. It felt like half that. But apparently they grew like more than 50% or something from the last year. I don't know. This was in downtown Seattle. This was in the Hyatt Regency Seattle. It's a brand new hotel. Beautiful space. I absolutely loved that space. I thought that was incredible.
The hotel rooms really are inefficient, though. There's just laying that out there.
The door
for the bathroom just it does not close, and then there's no door on the shower. Like, it's very, very minimalist, but there's like no door in the shower, so all the water comes out, and you don't get to have that nice buildup of steam that keeps you warm. It's really an inefficient structure. It looks nice, but it does not work.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I didn't stay there. Only you did. I was just staying at home and commuting each day, which I was able to do so fairly cheaply. Luckily.
Simul's cat peed on my luggage, and I was wondering for the longest time why my luggage bag was smelling like his cat, and I realized, she peed on my luggage bag. And it's very frustrating because I try to wash it out, and it still smells like pee. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But hey, it
He
was a
blames
furry
the furries,
convention, so it's in theme. You know,
let's get this off the back because this has been a running gag for the previous 75 episodes we've been doing. Neither of us are exactly furry. I have been to furry conventions. I vend at furry conventions. I do panels at furry conventions. In fact, they invited me to this con as one of their panelists because they like the panels I do at these different cons. But Simul has never been to a furry con before. His only, I guess, interactions with furries would be through the Brony fandom. So this is really your first introduction to the community. What were your impressions?
Well, I know a lot of furries,
yes,
in the local area and such. So I had some sort of idea going in of what to expect, and I'd say it didn't surprise me per se, but it was different from what I was expecting because my benchmark would be something like a pony convention, and it did feel quite different from a pony convention. There was a lot more open space. There weren't as many like rooms that had set functions. Like if you're at a pony convention, again, all these cons take cues from other cons and other formats and stuff, but I was expecting there to be like a game room, and
there was a game room.
Where?
It was on the floor below us, the vendor area.
I didn't see that on the map. I remember looking at the map and being like, why are all these rooms Thanksgiving overflow and there's not like a charity room, there's not a game room, there's not...
I guess it's interesting.
There was a ball pit.
We talked about this a bit because I also, one of the panels I was doing at the con is the history of conventions, which is based off the book I'm writing about the evolution of these different conventions. And there is a slight crossover between how BronyCons formed. There is some slight furry DNA that's in the structure of BronyCons, but for the most part, BronyCons have a lot more anime and Star Trek con DNA in them. Mm-hmm. However, the furry cons do draw directly from the science fiction con model. So there's going to be a lot more room parties. There's going to be a lot more gathering spaces. I'm trying to think if I think it might have been a good introduction for you because the next con I went to the next weekend is Midwest Fur Fest, which is currently the largest furry convention. And all the things you're talking about that you thought you would expect but didn't see happened at Midwest Fur Fest.
So that's why I think I probably do need to visit a larger one before I can really make a good conclusion about what furry cons are like. Because the one we went to was atypically small, right?
Yeah, because like Midwest Fur Fest, they had the game rooms, they had the board game section, and the one thing that really stood out for me with this con specifically is the entire lobby and gathering space of the convention area is completely flooded with furries and fursuits taking pictures in their booths, communicating. And I actually noticed we didn't see that much of the furries gathering outside in the convention areas and just hanging out taking pictures. It seemed like they were either inside a room or a panel. Mm-hmm. But there are also other elements which I think are unique, which you wouldn't see at other cons. So most furry cons, they have a section called the zoo area, which is a large room where people could just gather, draw, do whatever they want in there. That's where we met some of our friends, local friends there.
Yeah, that's where we had the yo-yo panel.
Yeah, in the zoo area. I'm not sure if Anthro Northwest calls it the zoo, but by default, most furry cons call it a zoo area. Anthro Northwest also was very unique because the con chair, he's friends with a lot of mutual friends I have who are into the pool toy phenomenon, which is something I also covered in one of my panels. But there was actually an area right by the main stage where the dances were held, where it was nothing but inflatable bounce houses, bounce castles, obstacle courses, and animals. And I think that is something that's very unique because I don't think even Midwest Fur Fest, like they did have a panel where you could go in and see the pool toys, but it was only for one day for about 5 hours. So this is something that this con had that was unique that the other furry cons didn't have.
Like I said, I think I really do need to see a larger one. So like if I can make it, I'd love to try BLFC or something like that.
I have a room, so...
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try for it. But yeah,
okay.
Bottom line, I had a good time. I can definitely say I'm still not a furry. Having been there, they did not successfully convert me. It's cool to see people just having a good time doing what they enjoy, and I appreciate that in pretty much all of its forms. So,
well, one thing I did appreciate is they actually allowed us to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they did have a big group Thanksgiving driving thing there. I've not seen cons do that before. That was a unique aspect that I think was really cool. It must have cost them a lot, though.
Well, yeah, I guess because they had to use the hotel catering.
Hotel catering is not cheap.
And this is interesting because this is also the second con I've been to this year. Actually, the other one was a furry con as well, where they actually shut down the vendor hall midday so they could arrange for the vendors to eat food, which is something that's rarely seen at most cons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from that, you were in your Kigu the entire time, which was kind of fun. And people were suggesting personas for you. So
yeah, none of which sounded like they
which
fit.
Ones do you
really.
like? Nothing fit?
None of them are worth mentioning. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not a question I think about a lot, but none of the suggestions really made much sense to me. I don't know.
I think you're just a cat because you have a cat. I don't know.
Cats are great. Anyway, yeah, it was a good time. I'd definitely go back again. But yeah, still not a furry.
All right, so I guess this will be the last episode of the year. We're gonna take a little break because I am moving to hopefully Orlando, Florida, and after the move, I have 3 back-to-back cons in Phoenix, Vancouver, and San Jose, all back-to-back right during the new year. So we're not sure when we're gonna do a next episode. Hopefully, since I'm visiting Simul in Seattle again, we'll record an episode then. But if not, we'll keep you posted. At Midwest Fur Fest, I actually did record an impromptu out of canon episode with Mike the Microphone and Pony One Kenobi, our musician friend. But we're probably not going to upload it on this channel. But if you guys are interested in listening to this episode, we actually watched the first minute of Zootopia, which is the first promo they released, and talked a bit about that. So if you guys are interested in seeing this release, let us know. We'll probably host it on my channel. But if not, this will be the last episode of the year. So do you have any final thoughts on 2019 and any New Year resolutions?
I resolve to finish this podcast. Let's see if we can get it done in 2020.
Before the sequel comes out?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, let's just do this. And then we'll start Zootopia Minute 2.
I'm not committed to that, but anyway. All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much for listening. If you were at our live episode at A&W, thank you so much for attending. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody, and have a fantastic new year.
Happy Hanukkah and Kwanzaa as well.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to this. That'll do it for this episode of Zootopia Minute. If you did like the podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at Zootopia Minute. Like us on Facebook under the same name there as well. We also have a Tumblr. And if you have anything you would like to let us know about at all, any comments about the show or anything we've discussed, what you like, what you don't like, you can send those thoughts to zootopiaminute@gmail.com. And with that, we'll call it good. We will see you guys in 2020. Happy holidays.
Merry holidays and to all a good furry night.
Ho, ho, ho.